fluent in German, auf Deutsch. So.
It's okay, it's okay.
No problem. But I have to go out, unfortunately. Aber vielleicht könnt ihr mir die Aufzeichnung zusenden. Das wäre
Ja. Wir geben dir den YouTube-Link, ja, YouTube-Link.
Alles Liebe, viel Freude.
Ciao, lieber Matthias. Bye. Jens? Hi, Will. Nice to meet you again. Nice to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you.
And your hairs are perfect, yeah?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Just a moment. We're starting the recording.
Great.
Just in a moment. Ariana?
Ja?
Hast du gestartet?
Ja, läuft alles.
Okay. So we are in the middle of the speech, yeah. Okay. Gabriele?
Huh? What? I will.
Gabriele will introduce you and say hello from the symposium.
Okay.
Yes, I will. So wonderful that you come again. Well,
thank you.
We're already here. And I remember your speech were so deep, and I was like, I couldn't, it was like, I couldn't, I was in this speech. I was with you. So I thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you are again here. And now we have here this intergalactic Sun Forum. And Joseph Alphons gave you some questions.
Okay.
And our moderator, Dominic Umberto,
from the
last year, who had that good English, he fell sick.
With his eyes,
and he had an operation.
Oh, I see.
An operation yesterday.
Only one eye.
So he's not here. So we have to find a way.
But he's in the heart, with his heart in this meeting with you. And yes, last year you did a great conversation, you together with him. So what we want to ask you for this speech, please talk about your new book, why you wrote it, and what is all included, and give us going through what is the importance of his book. Yeah, please start. So we start today. We make no translation. We're making a little later with a voiceover, whatever, and so you can go ahead and go directly with your English,
right?
Native speaker language.
I can try.
Right. Okay, well, that sounds fantastic. And I'll go ahead. This is the book we were talking about. It's a new book. It just came out a few months ago, called Food for Freedom. And I just want to mention that we live in Northern California, and we'll be leaving in a couple of hours on a lecture tour, traveling up to Oregon and Washington and up into Canada, and giving many lectures over the next 10 days. So I have about 20 minutes or so. Is that good? 20, 25 minutes? Yes. And I can say some of these main ideas. So the other book I wrote earlier, this one you can see, the World Peace Diet, the main idea in both of these books is that all of us as human beings have been given a wonderful gift, a physical body that does not require any animals to be imprisoned and killed and abused to be healthy. We can just thrive and celebrate our lives on this beautiful earth without killing animals, without imprisoning them. And so the World Peace Diet goes in depth into the devastating impact that has on our physical health, on the environment, on our spiritual health, on our society, on the poor animals, on the whole web of life. It's very damaging on the outer level. But the World Peace Diet also discusses how being born into a society where this is normalized, where everyone, from the time we're little kids, we're eating the flesh of animals who have been horribly abused, as well as milk and dairy and these other products that come from suffering, that they concentrate not only physical toxins that cause a lot of different diseases and cause heart disease and liver disease and kidney disease and cancer and many other problems, but also they affect our consciousness, that we have to learn to look at nature as an enemy. We're dominating and exploiting animals, and it's especially the female animals are the most exploited. They're sexually abused over and over again. Their babies are stolen. So this terrible suffering that we inflict on female cows, pigs, chickens, other animals for food not only harms them, it harms us, because we have to harden our hearts and not care about them. And and then take out our wallet, take out our money. I always say when we have money like dollars, those are votes, and we're voting with our money. We're voting with our wallets every day. And so everybody talks about who's going to win the election. This is the real election right here. This is what we're voting for all the time. And so it's important to understand that and vote for compassion and kindness and sustainability and freedom and health and loving and love, really, basically. And so the good news is we can do that. I have not eaten any animal foods now for, I guess, 44 years, since 1980. And I'm doing great. Madeline, my wife, also from Switzerland. We're both in our 70s and we're thriving. We're really healthy. So that's the good news. And the thing is that when we eat animal foods and we're in this society where we're forced to adopt a mentality, a way of thinking that dominates the sacred feminine dimension of life. I refer to that as Sophia is the ancient Greek goddess of wisdom, and that represents the wisdom within us as human beings to love and nurture and protect life, and to care for our children, and to create healthy communities, and to care for the earth, and to have a spiritual life where we get beyond being merely self-centered and care about everyone, the sense of interconnection and inclusion. So we include not just human beings, but all living beings within the sphere of our kindness and compassion. And so the whole idea is to heal from these wounds. So I wrote that book almost 20 years ago, and it did very well. It became a #1 Amazon bestseller worldwide. It's been translated now into 19 languages, including German, if anybody wants to get it. And it's all over the world. We traveled all over the world. And then COVID happened, recently, in the last 4 or 5 years. And everything changed quite a bit. We stopped traveling. The world kind of shut down. And there was this whole fear of germs and viruses and bacteria and lockdowns and contagion and losing our freedom of the press and all these things. So I wrote this book, Food for Freedom, basically to show how the main teaching. I used to teach college courses in religion, in comparative religion. I was a Zen Buddhist monk in Korea back in the 1980s. I've studied all the world religions in depth. And I love the world religions. Basically, all of them agree on the golden rule. Don't do to others what you don't want to have done to yourself. And the other main teaching in all the world religions is whatever you sow, you will reap. Whatever you put out will come back. So I've been warning for 30 years that if we human beings insist on exploiting millions of animals every day, medicating them against their will, stealing their babies, making them sick, we are going to find the same thing happening to us. As you sow, so shall you reap. And we see it happening. I mean, it's really being rolled out on a massive scale, that we are finding that we are becoming the livestock. We're becoming the farmed animals. We farm these animals, we imprison them, we steal their freedom, we don't let them move, don't let them go anywhere, exploit them and harm them and abuse them and cause them a lot of suffering, really. They're born into suffering and they don't get out until they're killed. And we shouldn't do that. I mean, we don't have to, but we do. And so now we're finding that just as we look at cows and pigs and chickens as commodities to be used, there are very powerful people who look at us as commodities to be used and take away our freedom. And we see that happening, that people are being more and more compelled medically, for example, to take medications, and we're losing the right to say whatever we want in the media, and to gather together, and all these things. So the main point in my book, Food for Freedom, is that animal liberation and compassion for animals is the foundation for human freedom and for human health. When we care about animals, when we reawaken Sophia within ourselves, the inner feminine wisdom, and actually live a life of kindness and compassion for animals and for ecosystems, then we'll be worthy of a world of kindness and compassion for ourselves. And we'll have rulers, so-called rulers, that reflect the same kind of compassion we have for animals. So it's really up to each one of us as an individual to make an effort to understand these ideas and to make these connections, to stop voting, paying for meat, dairy, and eggs, to learn how to thrive on plant-sourced foods, on beans and vegetables and fruits and grains and nuts and seeds and mushrooms and potatoes and sweet potatoes. All these foods, I mean, there's so many foods, and they're delicious and they're nutritious, and they have all the amino acids for protein. They have all the essential fatty acids for fats. They have all the vitamins. They have all the minerals. They have carbohydrates for energy. They have fiber for digestive health. They have everything. There's nothing missing. So when we understand that, and that reduces the amount of environmental devastation enormously, because it takes so much land to grow genetically engineered, very often corn and soy and other wheat and other grains to feed to imprisoned cows and pigs and chickens. And we could free up that land. We could stop cutting down rainforests. We could allow the oceans to heal. And we could make a much healthier society. Environmentally, we would stop being afraid of nature and animals, and that's really the foundation of this disease that we have. This idea of contagious disease. That's something I think we should question. Also, I'll just say this because I think it's important. This whole idea that we make each other sick through contagion. The germ theory, that's part of animal agriculture. So really, quite honestly, one of the most devastating things we're doing is we're poisoning each other. We're poisoning children. We're putting right in injections into children and into adults that have terrible things. They have tissues and blood from animals, from cows and pigs and chickens and monkeys and camels and dogs, and all kinds of animals are put into these injections. Plus, they have what are called adjuvants, which are added in, like chemicals, propylene glycol, polysorbate, and also mercury and aluminum, and all kinds of terrible things. And so we put those into people. and we have all kinds of allergies. We have all kinds of chronic disease building and growing. And that's where the money is. The money is in sick people. The whole health industry, the whole medical industry has made no money on me in 50 years. I have not gone to a drugstore or pharmacy or a doctor or anything. I just take care of my own health. And my wife is the same way. And so that's very important, that we really do the best we can to take responsibility for our own health through healthy food, healthy relationships, healthy exercise, connecting with nature, being creative, and a spiritual life is the most important thing. When we take time every day to meditate and to quiet our mind and to connect into the inner silence, where we discover our true nature. Our true nature is not this body. This is the big problem. We think we're this body, like I'm waving. This is not. We are not the body. That's materialism. And materialism is the great disease of our civilization, because we've been buying and selling cows and pigs and chickens by the pound for thousands of years. We look at them like they're just sacks of cement, just objects. And when we do that over and over again, and from generation upon generation, our parents to children, we buy and sell animals by the pound. Eventually, we look at ourselves like we're just an object too. We're born and we're going to die. We're just a thing that lives for 70 years. And so when we think that we're just this body that lives for only 70 years, then there's no hope for inner peace or for peace in the world, because then I'm afraid. I need to get what I want and keep away what I don't want. And then we're all competing and fighting with each other because we're lost in delusion. We think we're this body. We have to realize that what we are was never born and will never die. We are the infinite consciousness that makes this possible. This is a vehicle. And we have to see that also in cows and pigs and chickens and all living beings. It's all spirit. There's one life living through all expressions of life. It doesn't matter what the outer appearance is. And when we quiet our mind in meditation, we can discover this. We can see this directly. And then we naturally have a sense of loving kindness for all the other expressions of life, because we realize we're all related. We're all brothers and sisters. There's one life living through all of us. And the greatest joy we have is to bless others, because they're not others. They're actually the same. We are related. But the only way we can be dominated and exploited is when we dominate and exploit others, which is what we do with animals. And so we have to, I think we're called now more than ever to live a life of kindness for animals, and then also develop a spiritual path where we realize our true nature, that we are the life that was never born and will never die. And then we're not afraid. We're not afraid of disease. I was never afraid of COVID, ever. I mean, I knew it was nothing. It's nothing. There's no germ. We have to realize that these microorganisms that are on this earth, the bacteria and viruses, they've been here for millions and millions and millions of years. They're our friends. They make life possible. We love them. They're fantastic. They help us communicate with each other. They connect us to the world. They digest all our food. There's more bacteria cells in this body than there are cells of my cell, of this body. And there's trillions and trillions of bacteria that digest the food and make everything possible. So we're being lied to when we're told to be afraid of bacteria or afraid of viruses. They can never harm us. They can never, ever harm us. And they don't. And we don't sneeze and cause others to be sick, ever. No one can ever make me sick. That's impossible. That's never happened. It will never happen. We have to understand that our life and our health is our responsibility. Nobody else can make me sick. That's ridiculous. And we should never let any authority tell us that. And we have to understand that we are being lied to so that we can be controlled. And the three main lies are the germ theory. Well, the biggest lie is that we have to kill animals to be healthy, to get protein or to get calcium. That's the biggest number one lie. Number two is the germ theory, that there's all these germs that are going to harm us. No, there are no germs that are going to harm us. And another one, I have to say, is the idea that we're causing climate change, that we're all, causing climate change, that it's our human carbon. Carbon is our best friend. Carbon dioxide, everything grows from carbon dioxide. If you want to make things really grow, like in a greenhouse, you put carbon dioxide in and the plants grow. It's fantastic. Carbon is our friend. Carbon dioxide is important. And so this whole idea, we have to understand that the agenda is to make us sick, make us afraid, and then also not let us go anywhere. Just make us you're not allowed to travel because you're making carbon. So we have to just realize that this is all a big deception. It's not true. And the climate is driven by the sun and by water vapor, and the amount of carbon that humans create with all of our cars and animals and everything else is tiny. It doesn't affect the bigger picture. I've been researching this for decades. I used to believe it in the beginning, but I realized it's not true. So we have to question these things. And the other thing, of course, is the overpopulation. There's too many people. We have to question that. They want to kill off a lot of human beings. There's too many. So we have to, first of all, understand that we don't know what the right number of people on this earth is. And we don't even know really how many people are here. We don't know. How do you know? Who's counting? Who says this? I think we have to really, question everything. I mean, I just read an article recently where they say the population of India is 1.3 billion people. It's growing so fast. And yet, if you add up all the number of millions of people in all the cities, it only adds up to about 120 million people. I mean, this whole idea that we have 8 billion people, how do you know that? Just because they say it. We don't know. I mean, so we don't know how many people, but the idea is anyway that we can thrive on this earth if we don't eat animal foods. That's the main point. If we have an overpopulation, it's an overpopulation of cows and pigs and chickens. There's billions of those. We know that. We have to feed all those animals, and that takes a huge amount of land and causes all kinds of pollution. So if we just reduce the population of animals, then we have so much land that can be back and can be wilderness and can be healthy, and we can all thrive. We should not think of how we should not have children and all this stuff. Humans are beautiful. We're beautiful beings. Our natural wisdom is always shining, and it's beautiful to have children. It's a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing to be vegan and to love animals and to use our technology. But we have to realize that our technology, for the most part, is not our friend, because most of our technology is based on materialism. And the very first technology was human beings figuring out how to use science. Science was invented basically to dominate and exploit animals. And so this is the first science. We're going back 10,000 years, how to breed animals to have more milk and more wool and more meat and so forth. And we've always used science to dominate nature. Always. And our technology to dominate nature so we can be more comfortable and so we can dominate animals more effectively. And a lot of people think that we'll have a positive future through technology, that technology will invent ways for us to live on this earth in more happiness and more comfort. No, I don't think so. We should not depend on technology. We have to depend on spirituality. Spirituality is the way we will have a happy society. If technology without spirituality will imprison us. It is already. There's more surveillance. There's more taking away our freedom. Technology can completely dominate us. Look at how the lives of cows and pigs and chickens, it's gotten much worse for them as the years go by. They were, 10,000 years ago, it wasn't that bad. But as the years go by, they're more and more hyper-confined, more abused, genetically engineered, manipulated. Technology makes their lives more and more miserable. And it's really the same for us. Ultimately, we have to let go of this idea that technology will save us and come back to our own spiritual nature. It's our spiritual nature that is what saves us, that we can be happy on this earth without a big fancy technology. Mahatma Gandhi talked about appropriate technology, using technologies that we know how to fix ourselves, that are simple, and we can grow our own food, we can live happily on this earth. And it really comes back to eating a more plant-based diet and decentralizing control. The problem with technology is it centralizes control. And when you have control centralized in the hands of a few people, then you have a problem. So we need to, each one of us, decentralize, grow our own food, become more self-sufficient, have neighborhood gardens, and become more energy self-sufficient. Really just decentralize and become more connected to the earth. I think that's really the way forward in a positive way. So there's lots of good things happening in that direction. Thank you very much for this wonderful transformational symposium you're doing. I hope these ideas have been a little bit helpful in some way, and I'm very honored to be able to join you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, can you explain a little bit more from your new book? What is the difference between both books?
Yeah, the difference between the books is Food for Freedom brings in what I was just talking about now, how we are becoming enslaved by our own actions, by our technology, by our science, and by these false narratives like that we have to eat animal foods and climate change and overpopulation. And we need to just question all of the official narratives. So this new book takes the ideas of the World Peace Diet and brings it up to date and goes deeper into it. And the other thing I should maybe mention is there's an even newer book, which I don't have in my hand because it's going to be delivered on Monday, all of them. They're printed. They're just being shipped. But the new book is called The World Peace Way. And that book is just all practical advice of how we can meditate, how we can eat, how we can exercise, how we can live our lives practically. So these books are more philosophy of understanding all of this and why it's important. And then the new book, The World Peace Way, is just recipes and how we can live our lives in a healthy, happy way as individuals. And I think the good news is each one of us can take time every day and connect with nature, connect with our creativity, connect with our spirituality, connect with healthy food and healthy clothing and healthy skincare and everything. We need to really be aware of how we are living. So that book is a practical guide. It's a smaller book, but it has lots of practical steps in it too. Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. Thank you.
So this book would be good for mothers or for women.
Yeah, very good for mothers
or young families.
Yes.
So that they live this way and show their children the natural things, so that the next generation will be in another consciousness to the nature and to everybody. And
exactly. Yes.
So this book would be good to come to these places where young generation is.
Right. That's really important. Yeah. It's really for all of us. I mean, for the young people, but really young people learn from their parents. So it's important for the parents to change, to teach their children.
Yes, that's
and then the children can learn, so
yes,
yeah.
Yes. But there is also one mother told us her children, they couldn't eat the meat as babies. She made a pie.
Yeah.
They couldn't eat it. They spell it.
Yeah, they kept spitting it out. Yeah.
And with 2.5 years or 3 years, the children said, we don't eat meat anymore. With 3 years. So the parents stay here and they say, what can I do? They have to eat meat. They have to be healthy. But now a lot of things change. And even in Germany, I heard that the health organization in Germany, they made the declaration that vegan food is allowed.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good thing. The one thing I want to mention, though, also is that there's a problem, which is that a lot of big companies are starting to make what they call vegan foods, which are not healthy, in factories. Like burgers and cheese and ice cream and all these things that have a lot of chemicals, maybe genetically engineered, a lot of preservatives, and they say it's vegan. And so I think it's really important to eat organic, biologic, organic and whole foods. So we don't buy foods that come out of a factory. We buy vegetables and grains and fruits and nuts and seeds and beans. And we make our own meals from scratch. And we also have a garden, a food forest. We have 75 fruit trees and nut trees, and we grow a lot of our own food ourselves. And I think the more we can grow our own food or get it locally and really eat healthy plant-based foods, not be careful about these factory created foods, because people eat that and then they say, oh, I tried being a vegan, but I was sick. So, it's important to eat healthy, whole vegan food. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more question from the female side, because Gabriela is working in the doula. She's a doula. Like,
oh, good.
Yeah, you know that profession. So maybe you can ask Will something from this side again.
Because of that, I say it's so important that the mothers know that, get that knowledge, that they feed their children another way. That they put the first smell in their mouth. So it's important to give them information. And in this book, I think there are a lot of informations for mothers or for older people who want to change their kind of eating to change. And I know it must be very easy. I worked on a marketplace where we were a vegan place, vegan marketplace. And some man came, older man, and he said, oh, I want to change. Can you help me? I don't know how to make it. So maybe in your book are informations about how to get vegan or change the meat food to a healthy plant-based food.
Yes, definitely. It's really, it's just a matter of understanding why it's important. So we have a motivation, that's important. And then understanding how to do it. And it's not that difficult because for the most part, we're eating a lot of vegan foods already. People are already eating apples and they're eating pasta and they're eating all these potatoes and all these foods. And so the whole idea is to realize that these foods have in them already nutrients. They have protein, and actually plant-based protein is higher quality than animal-based protein. It's easier for us to use it. And studies have shown that the healthiest and longest lived cultures ate a diet that's high in complex carbohydrates, like starches, and low actually in protein. We don't need a lot of protein. The hospitals are filled up with people who eat a lot of protein, because protein makes the whole system somewhat acidic. And so it causes a lot of bone problems, cancer problems, kidney problems. So it's better to focus more on foods that give us energy. And those are foods that are grains. Like the great civilizations were built on rice and wheat and corn and millet and on these grains. And that's where where you get your energy. And then there's protein in those, and you can have some soy or some other lentils and other things for a little extra protein, but it's really actually not that necessary. I mean, we don't eat a lot of protein sources, but we're just brainwashed in our society. We're indoctrinated to think that we have to eat a lot of protein. There's lots of protein in nuts and seeds and things. So it's really fantastic. Like this earth gives us everything we need. The main problem is unlearning. It's learning, but a lot of it's unlearning. Just like forget all that. Just forget what you think you know. And there's calcium is in greens and grains. We don't need to get it from milk from a cow. The cow got it from eating grass, right? We can eat grains and greens and get calcium and magnesium and all the minerals. And so organic is very important because it has more nutrients. And we can just do it gradually. We can do first all of our breakfasts, maybe vegan, and then all of breakfasts and lunches, and then dinners, and then gradually switch over. And we'll feel better and better. And sometimes people feel worse, and that's because we start cleansing. And that's something that's important to understand. When we're eating a lot of animal foods, we have a lot of toxins in our body. And so when we eat fruits and vegetables and other more healthy food, our body starts cleaning. And so all these toxins, chemicals and things that were tucked away in fat tissues, they start coming out. And we start getting headaches, we start getting a runny nose, and we start feeling sick. Sickness, so-called sickness, is not sickness. Sickness is the body cleansing. It's the body, it's good. The body, you get a runny nose and a sore throat and a cough, or you have diarrhea, or all these things. It's all the body cleansing. So let it cleanse. Let it cleanse. Don't stop it. You can stop it by eating more terrible foods, and then you think, oh, I feel better now. But you really stop the process. Or take a drug. Don't take a drug. You just let it happen. So that's an important point. We're not correctly educated in our society. We look at sickness as a bad thing. It's not bad. It's cleansing, and we should be very careful to minimize the amount of poisons we're breathing and drinking and eating and rubbing onto our skin. I never use sunscreen on my skin, or we don't use these toxic chemicals. Anything you put on your skin, it's like eating it. It goes right in. So we have to realize that there's so much money to be made from all these poisons, because people eat toxic food, they drink water, maybe that's not healthy. They put makeup on and shampoo and all these things, clothing that goes right into our body. And then the chemical companies, they're connected to the drug companies. It's all chemicals and drugs. So the more chemicals, then the more drugs we need. Now we're sick. Now we need more drugs. And it's always the bankers in the background, the money in the background. They want sick people. They want more chemicals. We have to stop supporting them. And my new book, The World Peace Way, goes into this. And Food for Freedom also goes into all this. To really understand and be proactive, really take responsibility to be careful what we actually eat and put on our skin, and be careful of our thoughts. Our thoughts can be very toxic. If I'm angry, or if I'm worried, or if I'm anxious, and we should really consciously create positive thoughts. Be grateful. Wake up in the morning and have the first thought being, how I'm so happy. I got another day to live, to grow, to contribute, and think of others in loving ways. Radiate from our heart every day. Radiate love, compassion, joy, and peace. Throughout the whole day, we can just walk around and send love, compassion, joy, and peace to humans, to future generations, to animals. When we're driving our car, we can send love to people when they cut us off in traffic. The whole idea is when we're happy and we're sending out love, all of our whole body is healthier. Our mind is healthier. The mind and body are completely one. They're one thing. And so the more we understand that, the more we realize that we have control over our thoughts, our feelings, our food, our relationships, and we can make a beautiful life. Each one of us can make a beautiful life. The idea is to not look at ourselves as a victim, realize maybe we've been wounded, but we can heal the wounds. All of us can heal our wounds in our thoughts and through living a life where we take responsibility for our food and what we're doing. Get fresh air, get sunshine, see the beauty of nature. Nature is all around us. Nature is the greatest healing power. Every day we should get a dose of nature, right? Every day take a swim or a walk. Look at the sky, the stars, the sun, the moon, the rain. This is healing. This is our true nature. We get sick when we're disconnected from nature. That's a very important thing to understand. When we just keep our mind, we have a cell phone, and we're looking at this all the time, and inside of a box, we disconnect from nature. So it's really important to connect with nature. And then the other thing is creativity. We're meant to be creative. So make music, dance, poetry, writing, cooking, all these things. The more creative we are, the more healthy we will be, because we're here to create. Like you're doing with this symposium, you're creating an opportunity for us to share these ideas. That's a beautiful thing. It creates a healthy society. That's really why we're here, to be creative and to love and support each other and question anything that prevents that, basically.
Wow.
Perfect. Be grateful, be amazing. Lovely, Will.
All right.
I think so. We have a long.
We have to go.
Some years ago we met in Munich, but I think so. We have a long parallel way or interaction with really health food and with what is good for the people with health and with whatever music and so on. And next, if you have time, Mitch is in the meeting in the moment. Mitch Cohn, he's a music Mysterian, and he will doing really tomorrow a big hi Mitch, you can hear us.
Good.
He's doing really a special music session tomorrow in the morning. I think so 9:30. We give you an email about his work, and so you can hear his really special music. So what do you want to say?
It goes good together, and you have all you talk about. There is nothing missing. What is important?
There is nothing missing. There is nothing missing. Again, maybe sometimes we can make a concert together. Yeah, we will send you some information about Mitch. And okay, my dear. Have a good day, and best greetings to Madeleine, your Switzerland, your Switzerland wife. And she's around the corner.
Say hi. You can say
hello, Madeleine. Say hello.
Hello, be good.
Let's see you. Give us a hello to your country, to Switzerland. And,
thank you.
From Vegas to you. Yeah, okay, with love. Okay, see you.
Beautiful. Nice to see you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, now we can see you. Hi, Madeleine.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
Thanks. You so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, my dear. Bye-bye, Mitch. And
bye.
Okay.